Can I really build a $10,000 a month business in less than 10 minutes? I know that sounds insane, but I can, and I'm about to show you how. After nearly a decade of refining a very specific method, I've helped thousands of people across 47 countries turn their unique skill set, their knowledge, into a highly profitable, impactful business. Like Adrian, who went from a freelance designer to generating more than $100,000 in less than 10 months with his business. Or Michelle, who turned her love of baking into a consistent $20K a month business. And with so many years of experience, recently, we've built a free AI tool that takes this signature method and provides you with the core elements of a $10,000 a month business, all in under 10 minutes. And even I was shocked by how overwhelming the reactions were. We had people crying because of the clarity it gave them so quickly, telling us that the work that has taken them 12 months was condensed into less than 5 minutes, and that this is the missing piece they have been searching for in making their business successful. So if you comment decoder below, we're gonna share the link to access our Ideal Client Decoder for yourself. But, and this is crucial, without understanding the key components of building a $10,000 a month business, you won't be able to implement or apply the power of the tool. So I've been doing this work for a very long time, and nothing makes me more excited than being able to support people in getting their unique message, their knowledge, their genius out into the world to make a big impact, while also building a business that grows while giving them the freedom to live life on their own terms. And that's why I'm diving into such great detail in this video. So let's get into it. So in order to get to consistent $10,000 months and truly get your business off the ground and be able to grow from there, there is one non-negotiable that this entire business has to center around. And nailing this aspect makes this one of the simplest business models to grow and scale, because all it requires is something you already have, what you already know. And more importantly than that, what you can teach based on what you know. That is the most crucial aspect here. This kind of business is called an online education business, and it's part of a rapidly growing industry projected to be worth $1 trillion by 2032. So even a tiny sliver of that, if you get involved in this industry, you have something to teach, something to share with the world, something that you can make an impact on others with, you have a huge opportunity for a profitable and impactful business. So the first thing we have to do is answer what I call a few profitable questions to really unlock and identify what is at the root of a business that you can truly grow in this space. So first and foremost, what do you know enough that you could teach to somebody else? The second question is, what do people often ask you for help with? Do you know people who come to you for advice, people who want to pick your brain about something? What is that topic usually centered around? And then what's something that you have done a lot and feel really confident talking about? So that's really pairing your experience with actually creating that confidence by doing it to be able to teach it in a way that you feel really good about and you don't feel like an imposter around it. So whatever your answer is to that question is at the very foundation of your business and the absolute non-negotiable to making this business successful. So your skill set, your knowledge, think about that. You don't need to have it perfect right now, but we need to understand that key piece first before we can dig into the actual business model and structure. So to build that $10,000 a month business around your unique knowledge or skill set, etc., you need 5 core elements. Each of these is really a pillar that together forms this unshakable foundation, and these are the base of how we've built a business that has now served over 3,000 people and been consistent and scalable for over 6 years. So we know this from experience. So I want to go over the elements with you at a really high level, and then we're going to dig into them in detail so you truly understand how to implement this for yourself based on your knowledge and experience. So the first is, this isn't just information. This is all centered around what we call the offer. And the offer is so important because, like I said, this isn't an information-based program. Nobody's gonna pay for that. So as I always like to say, people don't pay for information, they pay for transformation, especially in today's day and age with things like AI, with the vast amount of free information on the internet, with the huge uprise in content creators. There's just so much free information out there. So people are craving actual results, actual transformation. That's where a really solid offer is crucial and has to be the center and the first thing that you really define before you move on to any other part of the business. Otherwise, you're gonna basically shoot yourself in the foot. So the entire offer centers around what we call the 0 to hero transformation. And this is summarized into what we like to call a transformation statement, otherwise known as a unique selling proposition. And I'm gonna talk more about how you come up with this and where it stems from a little bit later. So the second piece here is what we call the ICA, and that stands for Ideal Client Avatar. So your program should be built specifically for the clients who need it most. Most being the key aspect here. I can't emphasize that enough. You are not here to serve everybody. You are here to serve the folks who need you the most and are ready to actually do the work to get the result from what you teach. So by combining the 0 to hero transformation and the specific ideal client, you create an ideal client journey that is incredibly effective and efficient in getting your clients the hero outcome that they are craving. So again, these people are looking for results. They're investing into these programs to get expert guidance and a fast track based off of real experience to get that outcome that they want in the least amount of time and without any detours or unnecessary speed bumps. So that's where your job is so important. So the next aspect here is, I'm gonna say MSG, which stands for messaging. So let's dig into why this piece is so crucial to bridge the gap between your ideal client and actually getting paying clients and customers. So messaging means you are engaging and connecting with your most ideal clients by speaking their language and really getting into their brains and creating content that is actually relevant to them. So you can cut through all of the noise, the clutter, the vast amounts of content out there that are so overwhelming, and position yourself as the trusted go-to authority. Because when you have trust and you are relevant to the people who need you the most, then you generate sales. So you see how these all work together and they have to go in the right order. So sales is simply the process of connecting or engaging with strangers, people who are the most ready to seek out help and get results, and turning those people into clients. So anyone who gets great results from your program is gonna ultimately be somebody who is a perfect fit. They are the most ready to actually do the work, and they're the most in pain and have the most urgency to take this seriously. They're gonna be attracted through messaging that is hyper relevant to them, and that's going to turn them into an actual paying client for your program who's going to get the most amazing results because they're serious about it, taking you from concept, just an idea of an offer, to actually consistent impact and income. And that makes you absolutely primed for the next piece, which really does allow you to detach your time from your income. So that is automation. So what I mean by that is that once you have a proven offer, you have your first clients in the door, then it's time to use tools and systems to scale without the need for constant manual work. And this allows you to stop trading time for money while also allowing you to make a huge impact on people all over the world who really need your help. So now I'm gonna bring each of these elements together, guiding you through these steps with a deep dive into each area. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to build your own high revenue online education business and have a powerful tool at your fingertips to get you there with even more efficiency. Ready? So don't forget to comment decoder below and we'll send you the free Ideal Client Decoder tool so you can quickly get to the root of all of these elements to start building your thriving, successful online education business. All right, so of course, at the very core of this is the offer, as we spoke about. So what I really need you to think about when it comes to the offer is something I mentioned a little bit earlier. It starts with that idea that you're taking your client on a journey. So your program isn't about giving endless information. It's about delivering that meaningful transformation. You want to ask yourself, what can I guide people to achieve? So you want to picture where your clients are now and ultimately where they want to be, and then design your offer to bridge that gap. That's why this 0 to hero journey is so important, because we want to make sure that your clients are coming in at a very specific starting point. So this is the 0 state. And this is where they're in the most pain, they're the most challenged, they're the most frustrated, they're the most in need of help, because then they're gonna take it really seriously and actually do the work to achieve the hero outcome. And what happens here is when we start with these two elements And most importantly, what makes this even easier is you start with the hero outcome first, because then once we know where they want to go, and this can be based on your own experience, like I said, it can be based on people that you've worked with in the past. What is the most ideal situation? What are they trying to get to? What is the top of the mountain that they're trying to achieve? When we know this, it actually becomes quite easy to then reverse engineer what's required to get there. And that's gonna lead you directly to really uncovering this zero state. So your curriculum and your program is ultimately gonna bridge the gap between the zero to hero state. And what's most important here is that you're not taking them on a journey with a bunch of twists and turns and detours and speed bumps, because nobody's going to pay for that program, and ultimately no one's gonna get results from it because it's gonna be a frustrating process. So your job with your offer is to make the most seamless, smooth, efficient path from zero to hero. So I wanna give you a real example of this, and someone I mentioned earlier. So Adrian helps web designers who feel stuck and stifled working in a 9-to-5 role become their own boss with their own design freelancing businesses. So this is the zero to hero journey the offer provides. So let's take a look. So freelance designers, web designers, but this is not where we end, right? We need to know what is actually the zero state. And in this case, they are stuck and stifled in their 9-to-5. Because if we just said it was freelance web designers, well, these people could be perfectly happy. They don't really have any pain or urgency. So that would make the journey much longer, and it may not even get off the ground. If somebody's happy and content and not really in any pain, and they're only sort of window shopping a change, then they're not gonna do the work and actually achieve the outcome, and then that's gonna make your program not do very well because people are gonna say it doesn't work. But ultimately you just have the wrong ideal client in there. And then what they're trying to achieve is they want to become their own boss. So they can have the freedom to work with who they want, doing the work that they love in web design, but on their own terms, make their own hours, choose their own schedule, do it in a way that allows them that freedom. So that's a very clear starting and ending point, and that is crucial because that builds the foundation to be able to grow from and attract the right people who are going to do the work, like I said, and get you results, and results are the best marketing your program could ever have. So it's part of the reason that Adrian has had such great success, because he's created a very clear and effective path to go from zero to hero. So like I said, starting with this as the end in mind, Adrian was then able to kind of reverse engineer what that path needed to look like to create that most efficient curriculum to get his clients the best outcome that they could achieve. So you want to start there, then work backwards and identify that path, that journey. And in this case, we know that Adrian wants to help web designers become their own boss. There's a great quote from Steve Jobs that comes to mind when I talk about this journey, and it's, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards." And that's exactly what we're doing here. So take your experience, your journey, or people that you've worked with in their journeys, and we just reverse engineer that path. That creates a great curriculum. So that's exactly what we're doing with this process. And the next core element of this business is absolutely crucial to making sure you can deliver the result with the least amount of friction or detours for your most ideal client. So defining your ideal client is crucial, and you want to do this in as much detail as possible. And like I said, we have a tool that's going to help you do this in a matter of minutes, but you need to understand the concept first. Think of it like being a big fish in a small pond. You don't need everyone to buy your program, just the people who are a perfect fit, because they're ultimately going to do the work. As I said multiple times before this is a key to really establishing authority. If you go too general, you'll be lost in a sea, and if you go specific, you'll be making everything a lot easier and become really the go-to authority in your specific niche and industry. When you go specific, you'll know exactly who to create your curriculum for, you'll understand their unique pain points and how to address them, and it makes your marketing a seamless, streamlined, and stress-free process, and you can generate a lot more in terms of results and clients with a lot less effort. So for example, in Adrian's case, we know the specific pain points are underpaid, stuck, and stifled web designers who are currently working inside of a business. So they want to use web design as a vehicle to create their own business. So they're thinking to themselves, well, I hate my job, but I love the work that I do. So they enjoy what they do, but they hate the way that they're doing it. So he knows that if he's addressing people that are in this exact position, they're gonna be in the right spot to take his program seriously, get the results, do the work, and he'll generate great social proof from that. So if we look at this idea of being a big fish in a small pond, this is kind of what I want you to look at. There is a difference between picking a niche and an industry. So the industry is generally gonna be way too broad. So in this case, it would be, okay, well, I have a course on web design. Well, who the heck is that for? And who needs it the most? And who's actually gonna do the work? So that's the wrong way to approach it. And then the next sort of aspect of this would be a little bit smaller, a little bit more of a isolated area, which would be web design for business. So that would be the niche within the industry. But what you're ultimately trying to achieve is you're really trying to pinpoint this micro niche. And this micro niche is exactly for the person who is sitting there looking at this and going, whoa, you're speaking directly to me. So in this case, it's not just web design for business, because that could be a corporation who wants to buy it. That could be somebody working in a 9-to-5 who doesn't really care. It's sort of like, it wouldn't mind up-leveling their skills, but they're not really invested. Whereas this person who's looking at web design, their skill set as a vehicle to create their own business, that is bingo. That is exactly what we're trying to appeal to. So again, you want to be a big fish in a small pond. You want to create a niche where you can really be a market of one and become the go-to authority. So the starting point of your curriculum needs to directly address these pain points, the ones that are associated with that specific outcome that they're trying to achieve. So you want to take this a step further, and we want to hone in on what we call the 3 factors of your ideal client, as we've identified through years of experience in working with thousands of people. And these 3 elements allow you to get specific enough to truly scale. So it's one specific ideal client, one specific place on their journey where they need your help the most, and one specific outcome that they're seeking. So the clearer your audience, the deeper your impact. When you're working on defining this, the wrong question to ask is, who needs my help? The right question to ask is, who needs my help the most? That's most important. Now, it is great to have a clear offer and your ideal client, but how do we actually get those folks into the program? Well, let's talk about messaging. So what this really comes down to is what we call magnetic messaging plus lead generation equals sales. So magnetic messaging is the idea that you are not trying to market to everyone. You are only trying to market to the people who are actually going to be ready to invest in your offer. Why is this so important? Because if you don't do this right, you won't have any visibility at all. So this is what I call the broken flywheel that most people use when it comes to creating messaging for their, business, content, etc. Ultimately, it looks like this. You create random content, which you're hoping gets to the right people, but it generally doesn't, because the platforms have no idea what to do with your content. So then you're just on this constant hamster wheel of creating more and more content without any kind of return. No clients, no income, etc. Instead, we have the flywheel for success. So it starts with knowing your ideal client inside and out, which we do at this point. We're getting a really good understanding of that. You're gonna get even clearer by commenting decoder so you can use the tool. But ideal client, and then you create not random, but relevant content, which creates algorithm categorization, which allows the internal traffic sources on these platforms to kick in to drive more ideal clients to your content without you doing a lot less work, because it actually knows who you're trying to reach and they want you to reach more of those people. So the right content positions you as the go-to person in your niche. You don't need a massive following by any means. We've worked with people who have no following to begin with, but you do need a dedicated one built around strategic, high-value content. So the most crucial part of this is that you have content plus a clear call to action for everything that you share. So from there, once you know the right kind of messaging to create, which again, this tool actually provides you with super relevant content topics, the decoders, so make sure you comment decoder below, but you need to combine content and call to action so that you can turn strangers into potential clients, which are also known as leads. So magnetic messaging is value driven. And when people get value out of your content, they're much more likely to want to take the next step in actually working with you. So you have to remember to tell them where to go. So for example, if this was helpful or this sounds like you are resonating with it, click this link to book a free consultation call with me, or click this link to download my free guide. And that brings us to the next step. So we have content plus call to action, which ultimately is either going to be a direct conversion, so telling them what to buy and where to buy it, how to buy it, or getting them onto your email list, because then at least you're building an audience that you own. And that's the most important asset that you can have in an online education business. This brings us directly to sales. So The most important part of any business, the lifeblood of any business, is actually generating sales. If you don't have sales, you just have a really expensive hobby. So bringing us to this point, it's important to understand that this critical element doesn't work if you don't have a few core pieces in place. So if you don't have sales, like I said, you don't have a business, and if you're only creating content without a strategy, you're stuck in that hamster wheel that I just talked about. You're constantly chasing clients, and your messaging should work hand in hand with sales to bring in the right clients to you. So this way you're reaching people ready to take action. You're not just reaching window shoppers who are sort of looky-loos. So ultimately you have to understand that if we know the right messaging to create, this then generates leads, which either are going to turn into sales immediately or eventually. But at least you have somewhere to take people from your content. Otherwise, we're on this hamster wheel of don't know the client, so we're creating random content, we're creating more random content, we get burnt out, we still don't know the client, we just are on this never-ending spiral of doom. And this brings us to the piece that everybody wants to skip ahead to, but you can't get to this part and do it correctly if you haven't got these other fundamental pillars in place. So that's automation, which is the key to scaling because it allows you to generate leads and sales on autopilot from the messaging you're creating. So once you have your proven offer and have client results in the door, then you automate all of the time-consuming tasks while maintaining quality and reaching a global audience. So allowing you to build a business that grows even when you're not actively working on it. So this is the overview of how the automation actually flows. So if you look at this just really simply put to understand how this process works so you can actually generate those leads and sales without actively working, so think of it as a machine, and it's really allowing you to free up your time because this is all working in the background. But again, you have to do all of this foundational work before you can even remotely get here. If you build the funnel first and do the automations first, it's not gonna work. You're gonna have no clients, you're gonna be so frustrated. So it starts with something like YouTube, which is a discoverable platform, meaning that your content on YouTube is discovered every single day by potential ideal clients. So those clients then get a clear call to action from your video to then join your email list, become part of your community. They don't forget about you. They become nurtured to become a buyer. They're either going to become a client of your program right away, they're either going to do that or they're not going to buy, and if they don't buy, then you nurture them with an automated email sequence. That automated email sequence also leads them to either become a buyer or not buy. So that is the very simple way to think about this. All of this, once they see your content, your messaging, and it's relevant to them, they then become a part of your community and they're being nurtured into becoming a buyer without you actively doing any work because all of it is completely automated. So now it's the fun part. Let me show you how to use AI and use this tool to turn this entire concept into the foundation of your online education business in the matter of minutes with the Ideal Client Decoder. So remember, comment decoder below. We can send you the link to access this tool for free. So let's dig into it. So I open up the Ideal Client Decoder, and if I use this tool based on Adrian's experience, these are the answers that I would put in. So what is your primary skill set or expertise that you want to teach in your online course? Well, web design would be the answer there. What is the dream outcome you want your online course to provide to your ideal clients? Well, to allow web designers to quit their 9-to-5 and become their own boss. And then who needs and will experience the most impact from the outcome of your online course? Web designers who feel stuck, stifled, and underpaid in their in-house roles. So I'm going to check that, hit submit. And then within a matter of minutes, I get back my full ideal client. Total clarity on exactly who they are, the 3 factors, the transformation statement or unique selling proposition, and the content topics that will be the most relevant for them. So let's take a look. So meet your ideal client avatar. This is exactly what you'll see when you use this tool. So it says, the one specific ideal client. Your ideal clients are web designers who currently work in-house and experience feelings of being underpaid, creatively stifled, and stuck in their roles. They are individuals with a passion for web design, but their current job environment does not allow for the creative freedom or financial remuneration they desire. Often these designers are highly skilled and experienced, but lack the know-how or confidence to transition into freelancing or starting their own design business. Their lifestyle typically involves commuting, adhering to a 9-to-5 schedule, and feeling underappreciated at work. They yearn for autonomy and the ability to showcase their creative talents freely. And then the one specific place on their journey, so their 0 state. These web designers are at a point where frustration peaks due to limited opportunities for advancement within current roles. This tipping point is marked by a continuous cycle of dissatisfaction, particularly with financial security and creative freedom, causing restless nights about their future in the profession. The pain of having their creativity curtailed and financial needs unmet makes them question their career choices, and symptoms of this state include lack of motivation, low creativity, excessive stress, and feelings of being trapped in their current positions without a clear path to change. So we know exactly what their pain points are. And then the one specific desired outcome, which is the hero state. Your ideal clients desire to quit their 9-to-5 in-house roles and establish themselves as independent web designers, becoming their own bosses. The deeper why is the need for creative freedom, financial independence, and personal fulfillment. They want to take control of their schedules, choose their projects, and live a lifestyle that aligns with their personal and professional aspirations. This falls under self-actualization on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as it involves achieving their full potential as creative individuals and entrepreneurs. And then the unique selling proposition, otherwise known as your transformation statement. So this is at the core of any successful online business. So it is, I help in-house web designers who feel underpaid, stifled, and stuck go from being frustrated and creatively constrained in a 9-to-5 setting to establishing their own profitable freelance business. This empowers them to achieve financial independence, creative freedom, and a lifestyle aligned with their personal and professional aspirations. Summed up in one sentence, you know exactly how you're serving people and what you need to create for them. So what does your ideal client need from you? So this is where your messaging comes in, and the Ideal Client Decoder hand delivers you topics that will attract your ideal clients. So signs you're ready to leave your 9-to-5 design job, how to transition from in-house web design to freelance, building a portfolio that attracts clients for your web design business, managing finances as a freelance web designer, overcoming fear of freelance failure as a web designer, creating a business plan for solo success as a web designer, finding your first freelance web design client, marketing yourself as an independent web designer to get consistent clients, networking tips for freelance web designers to get more clients, and balancing freelance work and personal life as a web designer. So this all came back in a matter of minutes just with those simple inputs into the Ideal Client Decoder, which of course you can use for free. Just comment below with the word decoder and we will send you the link to use it. So how does this turn into a real business? Well, I'm going to break down the specific next steps in just a moment, but first I want to show you how this went from concept to consistent clients for Adrienne. So a year ago, Adrienne shared this. Basically, I'm trying to get to 10K months, which would be the perfect sweet spot for me. And 10 months later, this is Adrienne's update. I've already hit my revenue goal for the year. It was 100K, so I can officially say I'm a 6-figure business owner. Haha, it's crazy. I still have 2.5 months to go. I've been hitting 15K consistently for the last 3 months, plus a 20K month in July. Pretty amazing, right? So how did this go from that concept to that consistent business? Well, it starts with those 3 core elements that you get from the decoder. And then from there, you create a curriculum outline based on the 0 to hero journey. You identify a price point that reflects the value of your program outcome. And then you generate ideal clients from there, which is your sales process. You test the prototype version of your program, your POP, before you build it, listen to feedback from there, collect social proof, and then iterate to make it even better. And then you go ahead and you package the evergreen version of your program and then turn on evergreen traffic to finally automate and scale without having to trade time for money. And each of these elements is laid out step by step in detail inside of our Authority Accelerator program, which Adrienne is a part of. But the first step, the best first step, is to leverage the free Ideal Client Decoder so you can have clarity on the direction of your online program. So again, comment decoder below so we can send you the link to access this free and incredibly powerful tool. I'm so excited for you to use it. And if you want to see another incredible example of this, watch this video next to see how Jenny and Duncan created a $100,000 business in less than 3 months.